Now this Conuco here, to the unexperienced eye, looks like a neglected bunch of weeds going all the way down there. But let's take a closer look. That's a locust tree, black locust. One of the most useful kinds of wood we have in this area is densely hard. The branches have thorns, and those thorns are sharp. The leaves fix nitrogen. They're feed for the animals. They're nourishment for the soil. These trees can be planted and you never have to think about them again. You never have to water them or anything because they will take root and they will grow. They are extremely resilient. They're a very important tree to us here as we continue to take actions.
To play with.
Very valuable. We continue to take actions to restore the fertility of Mother Earth, to increase the biodiversity of the ecosystem so that we can be responsible as baleros, first and foremost, as baleros, working with this earth, that we are being responsible and thinking about not just ourselves but the future generations that will definitely need the fertility of the earth that we are building today using what many people consider weeds. Perhaps if people would stop considering them weeds and start to consider them powerful allies and powerful spirits, the condition of the earth would be very, very different than it is today.
And for us as paleros, we take it to a different level in the understanding of what we're working with.
Well, we have been accused, you could say, in the past of scratching a living, a subsistence living from the earth, which we, number one, found to be an incredibly ignorant comment historically and given what's going on in the earth, to even use that as an insult to someone. But on the other hand, wow, if we could live off this land that we're caretaking, I would consider that we were very, very intelligent and very smart and very resourceful, instead of needing inputs from the outside world. That would be incredible. This space here is going to be a pasture for, a winter pasture for our sheep and our goats. And what we've done is removed a certain portion of the trees to allow more light to get down to the bottom and thereby grow a pasture for the animals. And then that also allows the existing trees to get stronger and have more space to grow. And then from that cleanup, we produce firewood, which we use to heat our home in the winter. But we also use for ceremony, to cook ceremonial food. We use them for purification lodges, ceremonial fires, and so on. This is almost all black cherry, which is one of our trees that have grown a lot in a transitioning forest here. And then eventually what's going to take over is the oaks, the walnuts, the hickories, the beeches. Here's the top field where we have planted up, and just in this area up here, about 200 trees, diverse species, including American chestnut, as well as many other kinds. And this is so that we can bring the forest and work with the forest in conjunction with pasture for our sheep, so that this is going to be a more beneficial way to raise these animals in a healthier environment than simply putting them in a field and throwing grain at them, throwing hay at them.
Animals that we're going to eat, but animals that we also
going to use spiritually.
Use spiritually for, sacrificio sacriempeño,
So these animals are healthy. We switch them from one pasture to another. And meanwhile, these trees are growing. They start out small, because they do start out as bare roots. And the deer pressure is very high, and so they're having to be dealing with the deer munching on them.
And
here's one right here. This is a witch hazel.
And we know how it is when you go out sometimes to buy an animal for a process, for a ceremony, a lot of times you're getting sick animals.
Very sick animals.
We don't want sick animals when we're dealing with our misterios. We want to give them the best. What we bring into our bodies, and we know that it's good for our bodies, it's good for our minds as we eat this stuff, that's what we want to give our misterios. We just don't want to give them sick animals.
No.
Which you find all the time in viveros, you find roosters that are sick, in auctions,
the brokers that broker these animals. It's pretty horrendous when you actually see what kind of conditions these animals are living in.
For us, it's important that we caretake this.
That we provide a healthy environment that's going to benefit the earth herself, the animal, it's going to benefit us, and it's also going to support a diversity of different insects, butterflies, bees, and wildlife. Here we're in the forest, and this forest has a lot of vines and undergrowth. The deer love it. They hide their babies in here. They have lots to eat. And a lot of this forest we're going to leave just like this. You know, again, providing habitat for the deer and many other animals. And just allowing Mother Earth to do her restoration. Because this was once fruit orchard, and then it was abandoned and kind of left to its own devices, and so Mother Earth immediately starts to build that which we all depend on to live. Soil. In particular, topsoil. And that is what is being shed off the earth at a tremendous rate at this time. It has been devastated on every continent.
And another thing is, yeah, like back in the day, you know, there were people living in this infinda. There were Africans living in here that caretake the orchard that was here. But also, you know, there are still foundations in different places, and at one point we'll get to them, where there were slave houses. You know, so there's a whole history, a whole story, and a whole spirit here that we're also working with.
Right, we're not being ignorant of those who were on this land before us.
You know, we have names of people who were living here. We have names of people that are in the Campo Santo right.
Well, the majority of people would be in that Campo Santo.
Yeah, and so you know, this is important. This is a relationship, a relationship that we have to make, and the tratados that we make with the Infinda here and with the Entoto is very important.
It's essential. So
that they can recognize us as we're walking to here, because we are Palo Congo Taíno, and that's a tratado.
That is a tratado.
You know, it's a tratado, but those are important things. We're just not coming here, you know, and chill por su casa.
Or imposing our will. We're not here to impose our will. We're here to bring those resources that we have, those understandings that we have, but we're also here to listen, be receptive, and be open to what the Spirit here brings to us. Because we are not here to dominate anything. We're not here to subjugate the earth or her resources. There's a spider web, a little spider in it. Okay. This path has been around for a lot of years, but we reopened it and made it quite a easy path to get through. There's just this shrub that's right in front of us is actually something we don't want to damage, so we have gone around it this way now. And now we're coming into the forest again. Now this forest here we've been clearing, and we'll show you who has been helping us clear this a little while later. But it's clear. This was as dense as the area we were just in a mere year ago.
Or denser.
Or more dense. And we created this space here where we did our Dia de los Muertos last year.
Which is going to be the space of an Nkisi that we're working with right now.
It's already got a large piedra right there. You can already see the spiritual expression of it in this clearing in the forest. And back to our pathway here, or road. So again, this area was as dense or more dense than the area we were
And
just
it's
in.
also an area that we walked through last year when we put a different video on.
Right.
But here you begin to see how it's clearing up, because it's important for us to have this clear here, so we could walk through. The children could walk through here, and we'll show you who helped us do all of this stuff here, which is important, and we'll talk about the fundamental in that way.
As we're clearing this up, we're removing a lot of the grapevines, because the grapevines are certainly very beautiful, and certainly here's a mass of them right there. Very useful to us as baleros, but if we just let them just do whatever they want in the forest, they will damage the trees. So this is the north field on the north side, and we spoke about this field last year, and there's some interesting things happening in this field. There are fireweeds, purple fireweeds. There's butterfly weeds. There's all kinds of different weeds growing. And we saw a monarch butterfly here earlier today. And this whole field, we're going to be allowing some of it to go back to forest. And we're going to be just allowing Mother Earth to take the lead on that. Because there's some very steep slopes here where it's very difficult to mow it. It's very difficult to even walk up and down it. It's very steep. And we're going to allow Mother Earth to reforest that the way that she does that.
And mentally, with our vision in our mind, things that we affirm, bringing that into the energy of Mother Earth, bringing that idea that we hold, or vision that we hold in our mind, and together these things can manifest beautifully.
Down here in this natural dip, we always see a pond down here. And so in the future, we are planning to put a pond down here that would again just be greatly beneficial to the wildlife. It'll just greatly benefit the ecosystem here, and be very beautiful, and will allow us to grow some plants that we use spiritually that require water. They are water plants. They like to be on the edge of water, or they like to be in the water. So that will be an exciting moment when that comes into reality down there. And this whole field is ours to caretake, which is a lot of space.